Hello, hello. Mac, I have a question for you. Do you have a sub in your studio?
You got a sub? You got $200?
Almost at a crisis there. I'm trying a last ditch effort to update my Electron stuff, but nothing is working. Which that's flippin' annoying, but whatever. Man, what is going on? I guess I'll have to figure it out later. But I'm trying to get my stuff to work for Overbridge, but it's not working. So the Digitac 2 works, but I can't get the other stuff to work. Okay. Does this work in whatever mode? Let's see. 1 second. Let's try this one more time. One more time. All right. What's up, everybody? My name's Alchemy. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be doing some sound design, some beat cooking. I have this new approach to stuff that I want to do. So the Syntact is working, but the Digitact is not working. Well, it's not even working. It's that these won't even recognize. So what I'm trying to do is get told you that. They don't. That's why I love Electron, but I hate them sometimes because their software, sorry, their hardware and software integration just doesn't make any fucking sense half of the time. Hey guys. Hey, how's it going? You're just in time to hear me bitch and complain about stuff. What'll Alchemy bitch about today? See, now it's working.
I was right. But what?
Yay. Everything works. Hey, Snow Metal. That's a cool name. Yes. Yes, my friend. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Hi, Daniel. What's up? Are you a Daniel that I know? Or are you just Daniel? Boots complete. Please restart me. Oh, shit. Just an introduction. Hi, Daniel. I'm about to sneeze. I'm going to scream. Ah, shit. Holy shit. Excuse me.
Holy fuck.
Not in overbridge mode. Okay. So now I think we've got everything working. What's up, guys? This is not going to be an Electron scream today. We're going to do that Friday, but I just wanted to see if I can get everything working. Oh my god, it works. Maybe. Yay. So there is some new stuff on Syntact, which is kind of dope. Although I don't hear anything. Do you all hear anything? Nope. I sure don't. Noise. Is that just Bitwig or is it... Okay, yeah, it's just Bitwig. Okay, let's restart Bitwig. Because things are broken. Shit, my keyboard is fucked up. My keyboard! Fuck! All of my boxes are broken. You can call me Captain Broken Box. Oh, maybe I needed to use VST3. Or maybe not. Maybe everything just sucks. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now we're cooking. Kind of. Is there a master output? I could just do this. Saturator. Big ol' clippo. Yeah. All right, so we got some new stuff on this. So very quickly, I just want to take a look at what's new. Chord, tone, toy, swarm, basic, vintage. Oh. What was supposed to be new? It says digital. Oh, here's all the analog stuff. Okay. Synth chip. Oh, sick. Yeah. Yeah. Are you talking about a comprehensive guide to Neurobase? That's fucking cool. Okay. I just learned something. Wow, that was loud. So, I love when I learn stuff. That's fun. Check this out, guys. I don't know why I didn't think about this before, but it makes so much sense. And I love to learn. That's one of my favorite things. Oh, right. Whenever you do the electron stuff, it tends to crash this stuff. So just give it a second. Can I follow this? Okay. If we do this and we go here, remember when I was talking about making metallic stuff? Check this out. If we go here and we set this to be really fast, maybe if it works, we go yoink. Maybe we can set this to be like this. So we can set this to steps and go snap and go 3, mid, high, like this. And set that to be here. That's kind of interesting, yeah. So yeah, I do one-on-one. I'm $40 a session. So I don't charge by the hour. I charge by the session because usually I end up going a little bit over. But yeah, so basically ring mod is a great way to kind of create, or amplitude modulation, I guess, is a sick way to. So if we do like, we've got the table shaper, we've got that going on. What if I set this to not? Okay, yeah, that's fucking sick. So we can do like a comb filter. We can also do like a glide, which could be kind of sick. So maybe not that fast, but hit you up in the Discord for a link to book. Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty open for the most part, so um I do have a Calendly thing, but the only reason why I would suggest, like, you don't have to book through Calendly, but I have these questions, like a questionnaire on them that I prefer, or that I like to ask people because it's about like when I do lessons is about you. So figuring out like what are your needs and what are your wants and hopes and dreams, and just trying to figure all that stuff out. But it's basically like, you know, how long have you been producing? What genres are you looking for? What I'm gonna do that to 36. Uh what's your biggest struggle? How do you start a track? Where do you usually get stuck? And all that other stuff. So if that sounds interesting, we can add just a little bit of delay to that. I know that it's kind of sharp already, but if you're already in the Discord and you go to this affiliate link /store /all this, this is kind of like my advertisement page, which feel free to ignore, but just if you're curious, lessons are here on this page. So, but you don't need to book through this. It's more of just the questions that, like, send me a DM or something, and then where are these? Where is this shit? All right, whatever. But yeah, what's my name? My name is my name is Pliskin, Iroquois Pliskin. You can call me Ian or Gray. It's my middle name. Or if you want me to be pretentious, you can call me Alchemy. Or Sifu Ian if we're in a martial arts class. But nobody calls me that anymore. That's fucking sick. Like, if we send that through an amp. What else could we do with this, maybe? Yeah, that's awesome. Cool little lead. So, yeah, basically I've kind of just been on this refinement process of trying to get cool stuff. This pack is growing every day, and which is what I've been working on, but something else that I've been doing is some other fun shit. I mean, going back to the ways of chi, which we did a lesson a long time ago, and he taught me some really cool shit that I'm starting to kind of come back to. So one of my newest schemes, I guess if you will, which I think it's fair to say, is to go back to utilizing this kind of stuff because you get some really cool sounds. Hey, Jack, what's up? Hey, Vingle, what's up? Hello. Maybe some saturation or something. I honestly think that this works better with like a wavetable or something. Like a Reese usually doesn't pan out well. Sometimes it can, but if you have a wavetable, then I think that it's gonna help with what we're trying to do here. Yeah, okay. Sure. Wavetable synthesis, huh? I hope that's not your only trick. Eva, I need you. Say that one more time. I need you. So I can easily transpose to microtonal scales. I will become unstoppable. You know, Bitwig has microtone as well, right? And in fact, I think that Bitwig has more robust microtone than Ableton does. Whew. It's in between the Western scales. So like a typical Western tone is 12 semitones. And then microtones is like all the in-betweens. Been hearing good things about Ableton functionality anyway. You know what I'm about to say next, right? Demo. See which one is for you. There's this thing called EDO that has, or micro pitch, if you will, that allows you to separate stuff in between all that. So if you go FM4, you can say, all right, all of this can be like microtone, kind of like so. So instead of it playing a perfect pitch, it'll kind of play everything in between, or it has a degree of in between that you can utilize, which is pretty cool. So you can make everything a little bit more detuned, which is kind of nice. Or if you utilize the EDO, you can have it as 19, 22, or 31. But I think that you can just set however many intervals you want. Yeah, so you can be like, I want 19 divisions between 7 intervals, and let's see what that plays. See? Or maybe you want 13 or 16 intervals that have 19 divisions. Where that same chord would be. So, yeah, I mean, looking at this device, it's super easy to make that. You can also just honestly detune this shit to what you want it to be, so there's that. $31. I looked into it specific. Oh, cool. I had no idea I could even do that. Yeah, it's a thing. That's pretty cool. It's nice. So, yeah, starting with something like this and then pulling it back through like OTT. So what we can do is create a thing now that has some stuff. Filter default 2. Wait, right click, set as default. Filter default 2. We do need a little bit of movement on top. So, ow. Sorry about that, guys. Been a long time, comrade. What's up? Died in a crash 2 years ago. Is that what they told you? I'm sure. You guys are probably like, what the fuck is Alckemy talking about today? It's from the OG Resident Evil 4. I think the coffee just kicked in. And now I'm ready for. Coffee. 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 Right? Right? 4 double shots? Oh my god. Yeah, faceplant volume is quite low. It shouldn't be. Um. Oh, that's because we're not getting any sound. Hello, can I grab the thing? Thank you. Oh no, never mind. Nope, that's not me. I don't think that's me, guys. Oh, it's fixed? Okay. There she blow. Sorry, I don't know what was going on. That's more than loud enough now? That's how it usually is. I don't know what happened. That's a double shot. Now sounds through. I'm awake now, bloody hell. Sorry. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Oh, whoa. Okay. Hey guys, give me 1 second. My grandmother's calling me. Actually, hold on. Let me answer. Hello. Hey grandma, how are you? All right. Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. So, long story short, um, stuff is happening with grandma medically. So, I'm going to have to probably go out there soon. She's not dying, but I went out there earlier this year because she was having stuff going on, and I had to go see her, and I need to go back. So, yeah. Yeah, thank you. I've just been kind of building on this for different things. And since I have you here, can I ask everybody in here for like 10 minutes of your time? Even if you're not interested in these patches or whatever, like I would like to have a conversation with you. Um, hey ZV. So this is a new approach that I'm thinking about taking, and I don't know if you've noticed or not, but this is kind of like more of the Eternum stuff, which I might not even include the glitches, but I think that the glitches are so cool that I might just keep it, to be honest, because it's sick. But basically within these patterns, what we have is something that's consistent. So something that has a movement that can like move, like that can be, that's what I should have said, consistent or repeatable or whatever. So that way you get the same phrase every time. Oh, also I need to map this, I forgot. But the other thing is I'm like, would you rather have something like this that's just focused on like one specific archetype of sound, or would you all rather have something that's focused on like the Requiem stuff that I do to where it's like a super patch? I think that the Requiem stuff is like the last like super patch of that I'm going to do. And the reason why is because people just can't handle it on their computers. Um, which is funny, but also like, oh shit, like it actually hurts my sales. So I'm trying to find this middle ground in between of making things that are versatile for people and usable, but also like provide an aspect of exploration. I've already talked to a couple of people and they said we'll do both, but I just want to know your thoughts on what it is that I'm trying to design. So yeah. Because this one is consistent, yeah. So like you can kind of just manipulate this to be whatever you want it to be, which is great. And then if you pull in here to the default thing, which maybe I can just map these to like pattern type or whatever, because we can change this and make it different. Then this would be like randomized neuro stuff. Which that's sick, but and then we can have the glitch stuff. Or like, do you want a patch that like has every kind of sound in it, so that way it's almost like a whole sound kit, you know? Because don't get me wrong, I like sample packs and stuff, but I also like encouraging people to have stuff that is, thank you, like I just don't want someone to be bored of my sounds. I want somebody to open up like this patch and be able to make a few tweaks to it and then be like, oh shit, it's just as cool as when I opened it the first time. Oh God. Yes. Yeah, that's kind of what this is right now. So let me save this. I do like the bit crusher, but it's kind of annoying. There we go. Sorry. That was like, why isn't this working? Hmm. Yeah, like sending a neural rack into it is super sick. Um, what the fuck? There we go. Okay. Now that's actually functional. Most of them, but there are a few paid ones. So everything on the right is paid for. But what's really cool about this is that even if you don't own these snap-ins, if you download them and pull these patches up, you can still use the macros and it will still work. You just can't change them. But these are the most aggressive sounds that I've made, and that's how it should be, right? Like every patch or everything should get better and better, you know. Oh, sorry, Requiem 2 is probably the best thing. um, yeah, you can just use the. These are a little bit cleaner. Hey VR, how are you, dude? Yeah, these are just things that I'm working on making. Um, I try to make stuff that is kind of like every sound that you could possibly need in one. And that way, like when it comes into actually designing like snares or whatever or basses, then it kind of it streamlines a process in order to get the sounds that you need. So let me see if I were to pull up like Typhon or something, you know, then it starts off as a regular sound, which that's not very interesting, but when you turn the filter on, then you have that. But then if you want percussion, and a lot of this stuff is designed to be like, oh, okay, well, that kind of sounds like you could use it as percussion loops or whatever, but what I prefer is to be like, hey, this sounds kind of like a kick, maybe. You could. That would be more of a kick. And so you take that and you start building a kick out of that, or you just use it for placement for a track. And then if you find something that's kind of like a snare, let's just pretend like that's something, then you can, you know, build whatever track you want to and start to take out these elements and use that in a workflow that gives you everything that you need. And so um, I hope you don't mind. I left a comment on your video, which everybody should probably know who you are. Do I want to trade presets? Yeah, of course. I'll just send them to you, you know? I'm happy to just talk with you about whatever you have. I love having conversations with people about this kind of thing. And I think that you provided a really good framework for others to be able to be like, yo, this is how this plugin works. And I spend all of my time in it pretty much. But if possible, I could probably just hit you up on Discord and send you everything I have, because to be honest with you, I love to just see what you can do with it, because, well, that's kind of how that is. But yeah, so this is designed to also give you Plux if you want it. The only thing I would say is you need a really beefy CPU for this, but provided that you have one, or if you don't, you can just turn individual racks off, because that's kind of how I work with this. So if you want Plux on this stuff, then you've got that. If you want to create a pad, then you can do that as well. This will create random sounds for you, because that's always nice for just little fills. And then what's really cool is if you start combining this stuff into the generator, then you get really cool shit. So you know, just different sounds like that. And then the other thing that I have, which is nice, is a fade in between a wavetable that has like FM and stuff into a granular synth, because sometimes like if you you would probably know, but like if you put Reese's into a sampler, it has a specific character and blah blah blah. But what's cool about it is like if you're trying to play more into the pluck and pad stuff, then going granular is often a really nice sound. So I know that this one is going to work, but oh, stop, guys. Just let him hang out. Just let him chill. I think that it's just cool that you stopped in to say hi. I appreciate it. But where's this other stuff? Let me see here. Yeah, I will do. I'm gonna be online for a little bit, but I'll hit you up. I'm on West Coast. I'm not sure where you're at, so I'll hit you up as soon as I'm done with stream. What was the other thing that I was gonna say that's really cool? Oh yeah, and you covered this, but something else that's really fun is you can make arpeggiators just by doing this, which is really cool if you are like on a whim for not being able to make melodies. But if you set it to Gregorian Phrygian and stuff, you can only play one note because unfortunately like that's how the MIDI works. But sometimes if you have something like that and you are messing with that, then you play in between something like that and either a minor chord or, sorry, not trying to like tell you shit that you might already know, but just as like, hey, I love this plugin, I love talking about it. But if you set this to chord, then you have these modes here that you can switch to. So if you have a melody along with different stuff like this, it's not always going to work out, but sometimes it could be cool. I need to set a different pattern on this though, because it's a little bit, here we go. Let me try one of those. See, I tried that, but I couldn't get that to work. Yeah, you're talking about this, right? So, because usually I have it on the global as well, but if you right click and set this to individual, but the problem with it though is that it doesn't stay in key, right? Because this isn't bound by, I mean, you could play like fifths and octaves and stuff, but because this is just based off of the value, like a lot of times it doesn't always work for me. But I don't know, if you have a fix, that would be awesome to know about. Yeah, so sometimes you can make cool stuff like that, and then you can send it through your neural filter and shit, so. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, no worries. Thank you, man. That's awesome. Because I've been trying to solve that problem myself for a long time. Yeah, or you can send it through whatever. But anyways, yeah. And then finally I have like distorted leads and stuff. If you like, I don't know, bouncy 808, you know, halftime is my thing. So just creating, you know, annoying ass leads can sometimes be a nice rack too, but yeah. What was I gonna say?
Recording to logbook.
Thanks, Dirkhead. So yeah, I guess long story short though, for anybody else that's wondering, like the whole reason why this is important is because it kind of revolutionizes the way that you work, because like you could absolutely make stuff in here that's just like effects, but if you kind of try to design everything in tandem with the multipass stuff, then what ends up happening is you're like, okay, well, it's time for a new preset, and then being like, oh, what do I do? And instead of doing that, you just reach in for this, and then it's like, oh, look, I've got a rack. Oh, sick, I've got a rack. Let's pull another one up. And it doesn't have to be like the same patch stuff. It could be, but then you just say, okay, bloop, map that. Bloop, map that. And then you have a whole new patch preset thing that you can kind of modulate in between that saves you so much time. You're like, oh, I need a neurobase and I need it now. It's my money and I need it now. So, you know, maybe you have something like this and a shaper table or whatever. But You're like, that one's cool. What about this one? And so it really streamlines the process about like making this whole ecosystem work for you. I'm going to try to use just this and then maybe send that through distortion so that way there's a relationship with it. But there we go. And you're like, all right, well, that was cool. Let's do something different. Let's do dirty breadstick filter. Yay! Drum and bass is easy now. No, it's not. It really isn't. One of the biggest things with these patches that I struggle with is like I think I have a tendency to overdo them, probably in the mids, and like I struggle with trying to make stuff sound high quality, of like very clear and crisp. But I will say that if you're somebody that can take the timbre of these motions and then be able to like do some OTT magic and, you know, some clever EQ, then I think that people can take this much further than I can. But yeah, the whole point of all this stuff is really just to make creative processes much easier. This other thing that you might be interested in, because this pack isn't quite done yet. I'm trying to finish it up as fast as possible. Is for one, making a C note factory, which is really cool. So what you do is you just have a bunch of modulation set up and different FM sources. And you can have these stages of FM or even oscillators set through in stages via the remap. So because of this, you can say, all right, at stage 1, the first oscillator is going to be on stage 2, the second oscillator, stage 3, the third oscillator, stage 4, blah, blah, blah. And then what you can do is you can either play a melody or just play a C note. Right, which all that stuff is cool, but then you go into rolling sampler and you take each one of these and you start to create samples for that. And then in a means of like creating like pads and all that other stuff, you can kind of use that to audition, I guess, different shit, which is great. And then what else do I like to do? There's the factory maker. There's the granular factory maker, which is kind of cool because this is kind of the same thing, which being able to apply FM to granular is really sick. Would highly recommend everybody try it. Yeah, sick. That's awesome. And yeah, and please, by all means, everybody, like I didn't make this shit up. I would say the only thing is, oh, you're in Minnesota? I didn't know that. Okay, cool. So it shouldn't be too late. But yeah, the thing with this stuff is just a means of like just how easy it is to get into granular, sorry, not granular, but oh my God, help me. Modular synthesis, and a means that's actually going to be helpful. And that's kind of the cool thing about this stuff. Was there anything else that I wanted to talk about? Not really. Other than like, you know, being able to make a whole entire song and this stuff, but I'm sure that you all have already seen that before. Or just different things that like to come in and out, I guess, of where is this? Yeah, so if you have something like Bells of Atlantis, then setting things in to where they, oh shit, that wasn't it. I've made so many of these, I can't even remember what is what anymore. I'm sorry. I've made too many fucking presets. Oh shit. Yeah, it's cool though. So, anyways, that's kind of what we were doing today though. And then also making drums, but I don't think that I'm going to include any drums in this pack because it's just a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. It's nice, man. Faceplant is the dopest synth on the market. Like, I don't care what anybody says. It just has the most versatility out of one thing that you can do. I need to I need to get a charger very quickly. Give me like 10 seconds. Okay. Do I throw transient shaper on lane 3 as a clipper? Yeah. The reason, in my opinion, I think that the limiter colors the sound at the end, and you can kind of push things a little bit harder, I feel, if you use the transient shaper at the end instead. But one thing which some people have explained this to me, although I haven't quite understood why it's a thing, but um, if we're talking about like, this might be loud, everybody. Three, two, wait, hold on. Everybody, this might be loud. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so for some reason, if you put the transient shaper before the limiter, it does something to where it makes it sound like just broken. But if you do like, it's weird because usually you clip it and then limit, but in Faceplant you want to limit and then clip it. And if you do that, then it'll keep everything kind of nice and tight. But one thing that is really important to consider is that if you have jumping delays with the delay itself, then no matter what, if you have a limiter, transient shaper, whatever, when this jumps, it's going to ignore all of the conditions of the limiter and transient shaper, which can be super dangerous for like your ears and all that. Whenever I was like really experimenting with generators and stuff in 2020, that was one thing that I was like, ow, that really hurts. So that's just a public safety announcement for people. But yeah, this is actually not the snare I was wanting to pull up because this doesn't have the, that one's okay. But I also managed to create a feedback loop using the aux in the generator section. Would not recommend. Yeah, it can be dangerous. Like, don't think that just because you have a limiter at the end of your chain, like that stuff isn't too loud for you. That would probably be my biggest thing to consider. I was going to open up something here. I think it was this. Just a different snare thing that I had. No, that's not it. I'm sorry. Calm. When was it when I made that snare? Because I thought I saved it. Beat block. Right? I mean, you know how it is. I don't have to explain anything. Okay. Well, the only thing that I did different in this to kind of make it a little bit nicer was just add an acoustic snare, but that's a really easy thing. But anyways, like I was talking about, what I like to do with this stuff is, let's say, and I have this for like Ableton and Bitwig as well, which if you want that, I'd be happy to send it to you because I've made all these racks, or I've made these things both in Ableton and Bitwig. I tried to do it for Current, but it was too big of a task, but the same style of this stuff of like, you know, having stuff like that and then making it into percussion and then plucks. But yeah, being able to do that in every kind of thing, I think that Ableton I actually had the hardest time with, since you have to map everything to maps and stuff. Dude, if you want, I'd be happy to show you everything. Like I transitioned from Ableton to Bitwig in 2019. It took me about 3 months to transition, but the cool thing about it is that now that it's been updated, it's closer than ever with everything. So also, if you have questions here, and anybody else too, if you have questions, I'm more than happy to just be like, all right, here's what I know. That's kind of why I'm here. But yeah, so I don't know. Master Chi is Chi and Cage are kind of the people that I owe everything to when it comes into drum design. But what I've kind of gotten myself into was creating things that are kind of like percussion or whatever, or maybe even using life or something and being like, what sounds like a kick? What sounds like a snare? What sounds like a. Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Chi, man. I love you, dude. I'm just searching for a kick now. There we go. So, if you take this stuff, and I'm just babbling, filling up dead space. Most of the time, chat's pretty quiet, so I have to kind of like, how do I say, lead the way. But if you listen to this, it's kind of already like, oh, dope, this is kind of a kick. And you can always layer it with something, which I think that some people would enjoy knowing. So, like, let's say this absolutely has no low end in it and just fucking blows ass, which is sometimes a thing. If you ever need a fundamental, like one of the coolest things about Bitwig is that it has an audio to MIDI device. So you can go, it's called a replacer. And phase is an issue, so that's something to be considerate of, but I usually don't really worry about that since I send everything into distortion anyways. But what you can do is you can actually just layer a synth on top of this, even though it's supposed to be an audio track. So if we grab an E-kick, this isn't going to sound good, but just for context, this is going to take the audio and make it into a kick. So if for whatever reason you need a fundamental, then you can push it into this and be like, oh, all right, well, let me just give this a nice, easy, you know, and you can just use that. But for me, I like my stuff to be a little bit more organic because forcing tonalities and all that through the power of EQ and distortion and stuff usually gives me cool results. So like this sounds like absolute dog shit, but perhaps by the end of this, I'm going to give myself about 5 minutes to design this. And then we'll see how we go. So we go like this, we go pitch bend. Oh, this is probably the coolest thing about Bitwig. So here's your audio editor. You can just make cuts, or you can duplicate, and you pretty much have like a second timeline that's all confined within the clips. You can change the warp modes of all of these if you want to. You can edit multiple clips. I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of this you might be asking yourself why you're still with Ableton, unless if you're a Max for Live person. But you can also change the editing. You can create exponential rhythms, kind of like this if you want to. Change in your warp modes and everything. It's called audio events, but it's all unique. So you can just individualize it. And the reason why I like that so much is even though I don't do it a lot, when it comes into the clip launcher, you know how like when you launch stuff in Ableton, it's all kind of stuck. You know, the audio, like you have to go back to the arranger to make a slight variation or whatever. But if you have something kind of like this, then it's like, all right, well, let me do a couple of things. One is if I have like crazy sound design jams, I can just use this as a bank and just keep it there until I'm ready to pull it out somewhere else. But two, if you are using the clip launcher, then you can be like, all right, this version is going to do this. Now I'm going to create a copy of this. And then I'm going to be like, all right, now we've got something different with, you know, a different drum loop. And then you can kind of change stuff as well, and make it to your liking of whatever you want it to be. So the flexibility aspect of it is just a little bit. Feel free, anybody can argue with me about this. Not that I'm looking for an argument, but I do think that Bitwig has the best audio editing, unless if like you're really big on offline audio editing features. But even then, I still think that this takes the cake. So, oops, I meant to do this one. So we're going to create a pitch bend. That sucks. Let's try to change the warp mode. There we go. Now we have something that we can work with because we've got a little bit more of a transient. And then I'm just going to make this dynamic. Let's grab a saturator. There we go. This is the, like, if you all want fat drums from any organic source, this is probably like the best thing that you can get your hands on. I mean, if you know what you're doing, then you can just make it. But as a short hack, like that's already so much nicer. The only thing I would say is maybe Yeah. All right. So kind of. And then what we can do is just lower the pitch of this. Maybe not. Maybe just lower this. I'm so finicky with this stuff. I'm sorry. Drums are everything to me. Okay. Hip hoppy, but whatever. Let's add some glue. Yeah. Like I said, if anybody has any questions on stuff, I do have a bunch of videos on like Ableton versus Bitwig, which can sometimes be a good watch if you're looking to figure out or like look for specific questions and stuff. But I think that just providing the education and letting people make their own decision is the way to go. So I'm going to crush the fuck out of this and turn it down. This is more just for texture than anything. And then we're going to mix it. Then we're going to fuse compressor. There's a click at the beginning of that. We need to take care of that, but that's okay. But look at that. I don't like the pitch of it, but that's okay. And then clip it, limit. So let's see if I can get away with just a little bit of touch. All right. Let's take that. Change the warp mode. Maybe like. And for whatever reason, if this does not work, which that one's okay, then just bounce it and do it again. And then just until you get it right. Because what's cool about this, that's actually not too bad. If we close this up. This kick sucks, but that's more acceptable. Boom. There it is. Whoop, there it is. No, I'm just kidding. So one other thing that I like to do with this is if you hit it on a mid side, which is shout out to Cage. If you guys don't listen to Cage, like please go listen to him because I adore him. Aiden is the man. Is we can add just a touch of chorus to this. Yeah, I tend to like want to overdo my shit. Drums are everything to me, like I said. So like if I can get a good 808 and a good big kick and stuff, which please nobody ask me about mixing. I am not the person to talk with about anything mixing at all. But what you can do is you can apply just a subtle amount of chorus to this. It doesn't even need to be like, it could be literally like a fraction of a percentage. But what it does is it gives you some mid-side. And so if you turn this up, now you have something to work with to where you can add texture to it. Convolution. Let's just go to real hall. We don't want those fake halls. We want the real halls. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So we can fade this out. Shablam. And then you're kind of free to do whatever you want with it. I like to add some bit crushing so that way it gives it some other texture and stuff. I'm going to use the kilohertz bit crusher because it's just easier to work with, or more predictable, I think would be the better term. But we just like the bits because this creates nasty noise. It's not doing much. There we go. Okay, so because of that, we're going to add some distortion into it. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. and maybe even play with it on the other side. See, I like that. It's subtle, but it's nice. And so because of that, when you actually play this back with each other, you're going to have to mix this in, but now you have, and then for whatever reason, if you need to, you can just turn the gain up with either a tool or filtering or, and now you've got like a super textured kick that, and then of course, put this on your master and you've got a big ass kick, and then there you go. And that's how I make kicks out of anything within Bitwig. If it's too long, make it shorter. And for whatever reason, like let's say we made it shorter, but we lost the low end, and that's where we go back and we add that replacer, kind of like what we talked about. And like context is everything, and that's why I think that drum design is so hard, is because like you never really know what you're working with until you start actually getting into the context of a track. But just as a means of problem solving effectively, that's kind of what I try to consider. I would also say, like, please take everything I say and like absolutely fucking ignore it, because I'm such a technical person that like it takes away from actually just making music, which I would say just go make music. Please just heed my advice and go make music. Like, fuck the bullshit. But if you need that, then it's there, so. You know, so now you can kind of have this like really cool high sidekick. One sentence elevator pitch to sweep from Ableton to Bitwig from someone who's been using Ableton since 2009. Flexibility and freedom of modulation. That's what I would say. Sometimes the weirdest random sounds work as drums depending on the track. I recently uploaded this video, but in my opinion, which I do try to make sure that everybody knows that it's an opinion and nothing else, is that you can turn any sound into any kind of sound if you understand if you understand the mechanics behind it, right? You would actually probably know this better than me, which, dude, if you don't mind me asking, like, how long have you been making music? I think I've been doing it for about a decade, but from my short time of, doing this, I've learned that like any kind of sound can become any kind of sound. And there's kind of like an asterisk within that, because it's not to say that you can turn anything into a Skrillex bass or whatever, right? But if you kind of understand the mechanics of stuff and you are like really aware about effects, then you can transform anything into a bass, into a kick, into started with Cakewalk when I was 10, 11, Cubase 12. Yeah, dude, oh my God, that's so much time. That's almost like 20 years. Yeah, so I've got like half of the time within that, and I'm older than you. So the thing is though is yeah, like I said, like everything revolves around like harmonics and shit, right? So if we were to do something that starts to shift things into the low end and we can create a sine wave out of this, that means that we can create a kick out of it. It might not be a good kick, but it could be a kick. And the point for me is to make it sound original. So we've already got something that's kind of in those lows right there. I'm going to keep going a little bit further, but I went too far. Sorry. Let me pull this up so that way I can look at what I'm doing on both ends. That's all you need. And if you don't have this for whatever reason, and you need extra harmonics, then you go into a vocoder, and now you've got all the harmonics, as long as this is white noise. And if you don't want to do that, you want something that's more organic, kind of like, say like Corpus or whatever, right? You can start to create or force harmonics through having a resonator. So if we go here and you have something like this, which I've already kind of gone through the trouble to do this, which is this mapped. No, we'll put this on 6. So yeah, if you set a really short envelope on this, well, look, I've already created like the beginning points of this. So if we were to take that and frequency shift this, like, yeah, we've got the high end on here, but all you have to do is just take it out. So you do something like this and you go, oh, look, I've got a kick. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's awesome, but you kind of have to like take it into account. There we go. So, you know. I mean, I'm sure if you like did something with disperser or something, oops, to try to force a pitch bend in it. Maybe something like this. And you take that and you say, okay, well, now we're at a crossroads with having something that is relatively close to being a pure sine wave. And then you're like, all right, well, it needs a transient. And it's like, you could just replace this with like a click signal or something. You could also not. You could just do what I did at the very beginning as well, which is try to create a pitch bend. And there you go. You got a kick. And then if you take that and you apply all the processing and stuff that I did from beforehand, which somewhere on here, there we go. I don't know what this is going to sound like, but I'm just going to do it for the sake of doing it. We go here and we put that on here. This might be loud, everybody, just as a quick thing. So 3, 2, 1. Yeah, sure. That actually sounds kind of cool. I do think that the mid-side stuff is too loud, but it's workable, you know? So if we maybe not have that much, pull back off of that, which is the donk. It's a little broken, but it's workable. And we need to go back into this and transition all this stuff to make it fit within the context of what we're doing. Because as of now, it sounds like that's just super. But yeah, so you can go from this. Let me cut all this stuff off. To this, you know, and like you stop worrying about that kind of stuff. You start with Cubase. I started with Cubase as well, and I quit very quickly. Kickfly, import any sample and turns it into a kick. Isn't that a thing with Kick Ninja? Or does it just remodel a kick? So, yeah. And then like let's say you wanted this to be a clap or something, you know, then it's like, all right, well, like what is the anatomy of a clap? And it's like, I suppose it could be a lot of things, but you could do something. Actually, if we wanted to have fun with it, then one thing we can do is delete all this stuff and then create a layer. So let me grab a time shift. This would be your equivalent to track delay. Then we can duplicate this to maybe like 4. Set this one off. Set this one off. And set this one off. Something different. So sweet. All right, I should have just done this on 1, but if we grab a tool and then we grab a replacer beforehand, set this, we're going to mute this. But what this can do is create a trigger, right? And if we have a trigger on this and we go to an audio receiver, sorry, a note receiver, that's what I meant to say. Then what's going to happen is this is going to be able to take the note from the replacer. And now that we have that, we can actually use this to trigger a segments, which is a multi-stage envelope, into a very short clap or a very short transient, right? So this is overkill, guys. Like, please don't fucking waste your time doing this, but I'm just having fun. So yeah, if we set this here and we pull this up and we move this down and maybe make this here, this needs to be louder. And we solo this. We need to set a hold on this so it doesn't trigger twice. Even this is workable. It's not ideal. There we go. So all we need from there is something to make it noisy and something to maybe perhaps make it into something that would be like a clap layer. So if we set a vocoder on that, and made that really short, turn this up, turn this up. And then we set this here. Then we've got a layer now for a clap. And then we can adjust this to so this is just your first layer, right? We can put a gate on it or a transient shaper if we need to. But if we take this and we understand this with all of the other elements that we have, as opposed to doing this 3 more times, I'm just going to delete this and do this. We can move this one off. We can move this one off. We can make this one shorter and put this before. No, we'll put this one after, so that way it's going to have a much more thing of control. Automation volume with 3 little plex. Yeah, just something that offsets it, a smear or something, right? But sorry, I got like super into what I was doing. Yeah, so if we offset this enough and we turn these down and then we make each one of these unique. And then maybe with this one, we can just bit crush it. Not that way, but this way. Then we need to shape all of these to where the tails aren't overlapping, because that's why it sounds kind of smeary. But if we make this short, make this short, there we go. I don't know what happened there, but that just deleted itself, but okay. What just happened? Okay. That was weird. Yeah, so that's supposed to be on this one. There we go. Well, then you can get into your stuff to where you can be like, okay, let's control it now. And let's shape it in the way that we want to. So generally speaking, do something like that. I'd probably want to make this a little bit tighter. Actually, I don't even need to do that. I think I can just go here and cool. For fun, we can layer this with a fundamental clap if we want to, which is cheating, but whatever. Then we go through the motions of the same stuff that we do for creating snares or whatever. So, yeah. I like this stuff, and I like problem solving like this because it teaches you how to be resourceful for making anything out of anything, you know? And likewise, like, this is really cool and all, but if we were to just turn the entire thing into noise, which is what I'm going to do, but I'm going to turn this down and set this here and then just pick a fundamental. So let's say like C, which we need to pull some harmonics from this, but let's just go G, where are you at? C sharp. Let's do another one. There we go. Let's do it again, maybe with a different harmonic. So if you set a bunch of these to something kind of like this, and then you can kind of place any of these little pitches and dips and stuff wherever you want to, which is kind of nice. I think that most of you all know where I'm going with this, but you create a custom comb filter, which is really cool. And then with this, I'm going to go ahead and set this as a low pass. We can add some reverb. I really like Big Sky. Right. Same approach with Ableton, where I feel like I'm playing Factorio when I'm making a rack. Yeah, I watch your videos, of course, but I was going to say, like, you have some of these racks where it has like this insane amount of modulation. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have the patience for that. But I've been like trying to like problem solve and streamline a lot of that stuff, so that way you don't have to create like multitudes of those racks. But because Ableton is so finicky and you have to like map it to a macro and then map a macro to a macro, like sometimes I question if it's even worth it. But in the end of the day, it's just kind of like, what are you willing to sit down and actually do? You know what I mean? So yeah, if we take this clap, which is not a great clap, I didn't process it as much as I normally would, but I think you get the context, then we can do something like this. And now that we have that, if we throw this into a sampler, maybe, and set this here, have like remap and faceplant for how a macro controls a parameter. Yeah. Let me show you in just a second if you have the patience. Then we can create that and change that into something that's like a plug. So most of this sound at the beginning is just kind of like the noise part, I think. Yeah. So you can create something like that. Or if you wanted to, we can keep the sustain up and set this to loop. Oh, which this will fucking blow your mind, if nothing else. So one thing that I can tell you all, if you're considering Bitwig, that you will miss is most likely simpler if you're used to doing like slices and stuff, because even though Bitwig has a way to slice in place, which is really nice. So if you just go slice, you can go slice in place and do it however you want to do it. Yay, which is cool. Transients, all that stuff. That's great. Super convenient. And editing multiple clips, also really nice. Or randomizing clips, whether it be gain, pan, where's the pitch if you want to. So you can just create wild shit if you want to do that. That's all nice, but it doesn't actually have like the slicer, a dedicated slicer. But what this does have, sorry, tangent, is the ability to granularize up to 128 different samples at once. So if I just go C sample, maybe, shout out Chi. You can set it like just like Ableton, to where if you right click and go distribute select equally, then you can do that as well. If you like, the select knob is already there. But if you want to take this and do it all at the same time with up to 128 samples, you can do that. So if we find a drum loop or just something to kind of give us texture in between, and what's up with this? I need to go to the length here. There we go. Then you can, yeah, take all of this stuff. I don't know what this is going to sound like, but absolutely you can set this to texture mode, set this here. But all of these are going to be granularized at once. So it's not really functional, but as a chaotic approach, like, yeah, it's fucking sick. So there's that. What was I going to say? Let me answer your question, because I was going to explain something else that was really cool. But in order to do remapping, let me just grab a filter. Let's say I have something that's set on a multi-stage envelope. There's a couple of different ways to control this. So if I grab a segments and I wanted to map something to a map. One thing that you can do with this is that here's the amount here. And then also if you set this to this guy right here, this little dude, oh, sorry, you have to set this to curve, my bad. That's how that one works. So if you set this to stagnant, which is hold, then you have the amount on this, but you also have the phase that you can control. So if you wanted to LFO that to itself or something for that aspect of remapping, then you just do that here. So that way you can actually control how you want that to go. Or if you wanted to remap this to the amount, then you can turn this down and set the amount here. So now you can kind of like basically macro, or sorry, mod a mod, if you will. There's also this other stuff that's over on the left, which you're going to have to experiment with. I have to admit, I haven't spent a lot of time with this, but these are kind of like pre-made remaps or pre-made behaviors of this. And that's just like one thing that you can do. The phase to a macro and then modulating whatever you want with the curve is what I was looking for. Yeah, and you can macro, or sorry, you can modulate any other modulator. So if you have a random, just about everything, there's a couple of things that you can't do. I can only think of maybe like 2 things, and that has to do with convolution reverb, which is kind of obvious, but almost all of these have a global amount. So if you wanted to LFO that, then you can go here. And if you wanted to have the curve to the LFO amount to this and have it start to cross mod, then you can do that too for just like weird and wonky movement. But yeah, that's super easy. And then what's really nice is it's all on the left. So if you click on the filter here, then the whole tab is like this. So you can just make the adjustments without having to open this up, which is very convenient. There's a convolution reverb that you can automate fully, but it's not out yet. Yeah, of course. That's why I'm here. I like questions and all that. One that you can do is Convolution XT, which I believe is free. But every time you open it, they ping you for an advertisement, which is really annoying. But with, okay. No. But yeah, you can modulate this with the decay and the stretch, which is cool. So that exists. But apparently, like, convolution digital sample processing is absolutely insane when it comes into convolution reverb. So I've been told, at least by the Bitwig team, or sorry, oh my god, Kilohertz team. But yeah, this is one that you can use. I never do it because I kind of gave up on the process. But if somebody's wanting to do that, then that's available. Hopefully, when that new convolution comes out, it's not going to be as big of a hassle. My dream is polyphonic convolution reverb with, yeah, that would be so awesome. I think that, I mean, one thing that you could consider, which it wouldn't be the same, of course, but you in theory could create something very interesting to maybe like you can't do full on key tracking, but you could do key ranges and having like multiple instrumentations of like, hey, past a certain key range, this is going to be active. And then you can remap it right with an LFO. So, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just like nerding out on this shit, which is really fun. But if you wanted to set a dial or something like a macro overall, which this is also really nice, is that everything nested inside of this stuff can go in between anything. So it doesn't have to all be mapped to a macro. But let's say you've got a mix amount, right? And you pretty much do the same thing with what we did with phase plant. But if you have all of these and you have this set to a mix, and then you have another like thing that's like, oh, well, if you have a curve, which is probably what you would do. I'm not going to go through the trouble of making it all as of now, because I think that you probably have already figured it out. But you set this to be like this. So you go step 1, everything else is like this. Step 2, everything else is like this. Step 3, kind of like so. And then, yeah, there's only 3 steps. So you go to the mix, boom. And then this is already key tracked, so you can have that set to whatever pitch you want to. So if we went to stretch, you can move that up and down. set your key range of what you want that to do. I think you actually want to do the other key tracker though, which is relative key track. So that way you can set your first amount. Yeah, root key C3. You can set it as C1. It doesn't matter which one you use. You can set that, and then you can divide it up into 1, 2, 3. Let's say like 24 notes or 2 octaves. And you can copy that, delete that, paste, delete, paste. There we go. And then you can go to your mix and be like, all right, step 1 is going to be here. I said I wasn't going to build this. I'm sorry, I ended up building it. Step 2, mix, and map it. And you can do that, which I actually just did this in Overkill. I'm so sorry, because I forgot that you can just right click this and go convert to effect selector. And then you can kind of just do the, oh my God, you can just do this instead. I think that needs to go down actually. It needs to go up. So now you can just use this as an effect selector instead. Yeah, that's honestly like color based and stuff is not my world, but I can conceptualize where it comes into. Um, but yeah, it could be cool, especially if you have different convolution reverbs in between each one like this that is set between a key range. So now instead of doing it on all of those, you set the key tracking to this as well, and you key track the different octaves that will change based off of what range this is in. And so if you remap this and you have these different selections here within that, like you can kind of like create a really cool and expressive rack, which you can do this in Ableton as well, but just as a means of like theory crafting, that could be really fun and interesting. Seems a little bit beyond me, to be honest. I'd have to really sit down and like try to make something, but yeah, I in theory that's one way to set stuff up. But yeah, the cool thing about that though is that these racks and stuff are just very accessible, and you know they're easily toggleable. There's also global modulation, so you can see that I've got a random on the project here, but if I wanted to have, I don't know, a global macro, what's really cool is I can click on something like the sampler and set this here and be like, now I'm going to just put this mix on the master. Well, now I'm going to have a different randomization, and you can divvy this up between different tracks. So, you know, there's this rack. If I wanted to do that, then we can go here, and you'll see on the left that this is controlling. We need to go to the project, maybe this one. Yeah, you can see how much different stuff that this is controlling. And you can kind of just do that globally. This is great for DJing. Oh, and speaking of, Chi and I talked about this, but what's really sick about like DJ potential stuff, if anybody does that, is you can go right click and then go to, where is it? Content scaling. You can go tempo, and you can go to set event tempo or an apply tempo curve to arranger. So what this means is that if this detects whatever this is, you can right click this and have this set here and be like, all right, well, whenever this plays, the set project tempo is going to be at, well, it was close, but 91. And then if you do it again and you go to apply tempo curve to arranger and you open the master up, you can look at the tempo and it says 91. But then if we go here to 84 and we right click this as well, and we go tempo, apply tempo curve arranger, then this should now be at, yeah, so now it's close to 84. So you do have to make some adjustments with it and whatnot, but it's easier to just fix it here because this says 84. So you can just go 84 and then do it again. But if you're just trying to like play like a set or something that's like where everything is moving when it needs to, then this will jump tempos from 90 to 84. Right. And that's the whole point. And this is how I DJ personally, and which I don't, that's not saying much because I'm not much of a DJ, if anything at all, but it does make it really nice. And what's cool is that you can prepare a set this way, and then you can take this and then throw it into, you need to make sure that this thing is clicked on, but you can take this and now you can launch this in here. So that way, I believe if we play this clip, let me delete this. I think, let me turn the quantization off. Um, there should be a thing to where you can do that to where set project tempo. And then when this plays, you can set the project tempo. But there's a way, I'd have to remind myself how to do it. But basically, you can jump these and it will change the tempo whenever you work with this, which is really nice. There's a setting on here to where it says like apply tempo curve to arranger or something like that. Something of the sort. But what ends up happening is that whenever you move this, yeah, because now it's not moving. Oh, that's how you do it. Sorry, I forgot. What you have to do in order to get this to do what you want it to, which is really cool, is that you can actually have clips on the master. That's how you do this. So if you right click this and then you go apply curve arranger, then what ends up happening is whenever you move this, this moves with it. Yeah, it's like your little pocket bank. And so by doing it this way, now when you apply that stuff, apply tempo curve to arranger, if this is on, which is basically automation follows clip, then you can utilize that to take it with you, which is awesome. And that way, like, it makes preparing sets, like let's say you want to jump from different tempos and stuff, depending on how you do this, just so much easier to put together. I know, right? It's great for dummy clips. It's great for writing notes, which if you all don't do that, you need to do that. If you're in the midst of a project and you're like, something hose here, we're gonna leave that. Sorry guys. Something hose here and you're in the midst of a project or something, then you can kind of just leave that in. But yeah, I don't know. Bitwig has been really nice for that kind of workflow and stuff. Does anybody else have any questions about, well, really anything? If you select multiple audio clips in the range of view, can you apply fades to all of them at once? You can do anything you want to multiple audio clips. That's a good question. So let's say you've got this, and let's say you wanted to do that. We need to do that to activate them. So you can apply fades, you can apply stretching, you can apply cuts, you can pitch all of them together. So if I go plus 12, you can randomize. So we can be like, oh, let's just make all this stuff like super different. Spread it out, apply chaos. We can all slice and place multiple clips if you want to. You can do either beat markers or you can do it by onsets, but if we just chop this all into here, you can also move multiple clips at once if you want to. Move it all out. Then I want to stretch them. Let's say I want to scrub through multiple clips. I'm on a Mac, so you would hold Option and Command to kind of do your, wait, I need to select them all. But you can kind of scrub through all this stuff. Yeah. Like randomly have them shuffled or sorted. I don't know about like shuffling them, unless if you put them into a multi-sample, which is kind of there. But if you like have a little bit of time, then what you can do is you can right click this and then go slice the audio events. Let's say like to 1/16. And then you can come in here and just like kind of start doing either something like this if you wanted to, or you can scrub through different clips to try to just find like madness if you prefer. If you want to do an exponential rhythm or do repeats, you can do that as well. So let's say I wanted to take this clip and apply this to it. And let's say I wanted it to go from fast to slow, you can do that. And then if I wanted to, you can slice this in place again. Sorry, we can right click and go slice at repeats. And so now I can make this more choppy very quickly by doing something like that. Yeah, it's super convenient. Could have sworn there was something like sort by pitch volume / random. I don't know. There are conditions and there are like there are things that you can do as a means of occurrences. So like, let's say I wanted everything to be played at 50% chance. Let me zoom in over here. But I didn't want this all the time. You can have a conditional thing like this, but you can also say, all right, every other occurrence of this is going to do this. And now you'll see that these clips have these different timing modes on them, which is pretty nice. And then if you wanted to as well, you have to do this inside, unfortunately, inside of the clip launcher for some reason. But what you can do is move this over here. And then on this, you actually have seeds. So you can hit random, or you can have set seeds that you want to. You can right click and go expand. And you can set it to have 8 different versions, and you can decide whether you want to preserve the chance or the spread. And now what's going to happen is when we click on this, it's going to have a bunch of different stuff. So if you're trying to create melodies and stuff like that, yeah, basically stochastic sequencing. And then all you have to do is just drag the clip out. I do think that this works better with MIDI, but it is a thing, which is nice. Oh, if you are coming from Ableton, you are going to miss MIDI capture. I'm not sure if that's important to people or not, but there's MIDI cap from Birds by Things, which is the same people that run Rolling Sampler. So you can just throw MIDI cap here. And then you can just drag it out in the same way. There's a free version. There's also a paid version. Some people are, and I could see why, but there is an answer that's a free alternative, which is nice, which, dude, Birds Things is awesome. They have just solved so many problems for people that are sound design nerds. But that is a thing. Other than that, I can't really think of much else other than Max for Live. So you are missing a multi-band dynamics, which I just use Fuse Compressor. I also use the glue, which is basically Ableton's glue compressor. You are missing the retrospective MIDI recording. You are missing the stuff that is in like the MIDI editing now that Ableton recently added. But I mean, you have a note grid if you're really into it, which I don't fuck with this. It's not my thing. But you can absolutely do madness with this, especially if I can't help but mention polarity. But yeah, you've got a full on system. All the things I can live without. Let's go. Yeah, so you've got this. You also have an effects version. Effects grid. And then you have a full on both. So, which is nice. So you've got 3 different apparatuses for your designs and stuff. I don't mess with this. It is way more trouble than it's worth to me. But this is just like one thing along with all of the other MIDI stuff that Bitwig offers that is already really cool. You want harmonization, humanize, key filter, latching. These are just things that I would use. Note repeats, which has Euclidean sequencer on it. Quantize, randomize. Ricochet is kind of cool. It will just bounce notes, which is kind of nice. Strum, transpose map, and getting in there, EDO and micro pitching. Yeah, so dribble, which is kind of cool. And how they work is stupid, but they work. I think I can do better stuff with the grid though. Yeah, I'm not sure if you know about polarity or not, because I don't know how much you watch like the YouTube stuff, and like the producer community on YouTube is kind of a different beast. But he's the guy. Like if we're talking about like creative workflow shit, I might be the person, but when it comes into like the really big dirt, you saw him responding to your videos. Been watching him since. Yeah, he's awesome, man. I can't recommend him enough for grid stuff. For me, I'm kind of like, I like to break the device menu and the audio stuff, but for him, anything that's regarding signal flow and all that, like he's your man. I just don't have the patience to learn that stuff. It's really cool, but it takes so much time. Hey, Trafe. Trafe? I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Hey, Antonio. What's up? Yeah. So on that, does anybody else have any questions about anything? I'm here all night. Try the meatloaf. I really appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out with me. It means a lot to have an audience to kind of chat with and whatnot, and it's always nice to have some people and just geek out. Yeah, yeah. So I'll probably hop off here in a bit, and then if you want, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you. And again, any way that I can be helpful is kind of what I'm about. So yeah, do you want to plug that in real fast, or actually, can you tell me where to go for people to find your presets? Because you just came out. Did you come out with the was it a Kilohertz collab, or did you excuse me, or was your pack independent? Actually, I'm sure if I just Google this. Those were just independent on Patreon. Patreon/Virtual Riot. So let me leave a link here. So, I mean, guys, it's Virtual Riot. So there you go. You can join for free. This is Preset Junkie, all that other stuff. He has, I think, dude, you've been making tutorials. I think the earliest tutorial I remember from you is like what, 2014? Yeah, of course. I try to do this for anybody that I think is, trying to benefit the community. I do miss, you know what I miss? What was it? It was it was the thing that you played off of Adventure Time with, and you ended up making, I think you ended up making a bunch of drums and stuff from Foley and whatnot, but you have this like whole production of like how you put things together, and I don't know if you absolutely like adore making videos or not, but I can't even be bothered to edit. So, if you don't know this person, like he's been serving the community since before I have even been doing music. Yeah, studio time. That's what it is. Yeah, the studio time stuff is awesome. I'd highly recommend it. Um, there's a bunch of other stuff that you have of like everything that maybe not everything, but all the stuff that people want to know how to do, you have videos on. And that's something that I absolutely respect. And that's something that I try to like do as much as possible because how else are we going to get better? But on that note, I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday. When do I think I'm going to release my faceplant stuff? Honestly, when it's ready. Like I want it to be good and I want it to be something that people are going to be happy with. That's really my thing. And unless if I come to a point or until I come to a point where I'm like, okay, this is going to be good for people, then I'm gonna try to hold off. I can't wait. You've been cooking. Thanks, man. Yeah, faceplant is my damn is my faceplant is my jam. Sorry, I was doing my own self promo if y'all don't mind. But I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Saturday we can do. I usually game and do feedback if anybody's looking for that. My damn jam. And then of course, if you want to support the channel, alchemy.com. But you can come to the Discord. Please feel free to hit me up anytime. I'm a person of the community and just love to be around and available and love learning. At some point, actually, um, yeah, I'll talk with you in person because I don't want to put you on blast. But if you all get the chance, go watch the artist interviews that I have. I'm trying to get Chi on there. He's been so busy, but everybody else that I've taken lessons from and stuff have been on there, and it's a really good and healthy thing for the community, and everybody has some really awesome perspective. Remember me when I blow up? Oh my gosh. We should have a talk about that at some point. Give me a 1 hour lesson when I first started. I ended up spending 3 hours. You're a good dude, man. Dude, I love music, dude. It's Yeah, I love this community. You all remind me of the tricking community so much, and because of that, it's really easy to be invested. But thanks everybody, I really appreciate it. I'm gonna get with you shortly, Virtual Riot, and thank you everybody. I appreciate it. Have an awesome rest of your evening, and hopefully I'll see you all around soon. Bye. Goodbye. I need food.